Hello and welcome to the What the Flex podcast series, where we chat to some of the best athletes from all over the globe about fitness, lifestyle, social media, and what it means to be an athlete in the 21st century.
Three-time pro fitness model world champ, William Falade. Welcome to Ryderwear.
Ooh, good to hear it.
Which victory was the sweetest? The first, second, or third?
I'd definitely say the first was the sweetest. Because I felt I had something to prove to the owner of the federation, who told me to actually take a year out and go and rest. So for me, actually not listening to him and then going up on that stage and winning it, that it felt sweet.
And Williams, when we spoke a few months ago, you seemed pretty confident that you were going to win.
Yeah.
What was it that made you feel so confident? Or are you always confident, or was there something particular about the package which you were bringing this year that made you think, I've got this?
I've just always had that. Whatever I do, I want to be the best. I don't put hope into anything. I just put a knowing, and that knowing allows me to. It helps with my preparation because I already know I can't explain it. It's. There's no hope. There's no trying. It's just a know that you're the best and no one can test.
So what was your focus this year? Like coming into, you took a year off between the second victory and
Yes.
then took a year off.
Yeah.
What was your focus then? By taking the year off, what were you hoping to achieve by doing that?
It was business based.
Okay.
I just took a year off because I just wanted to concentrate on my business. And I just moved to another country, so it was a bit hard, prepping in a different environment in another country. And once again, when I'm doing this, I like to, know that I've put my all into it. And I knew I wouldn't have been able to do that last year, being in another country. So I done the right thing and took a step back.
What does your typical training week look like?
A typical training week, I train 6 days a week. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll go and do my HIIT and my cardio first. Then I'll come back in the evening and I'll do a really strenuous weightlifting session after I've got, plenty of food down me.
I noticed as well that with your training, you incorporate a lot of supersets, and you also tend to pre-fatigue your target muscles as well before you train.
Yes.
How has your training evolved over time? Is this something which you've always done, or something you've incorporated later on?
Definitely something I've incorporated later on. When you first start training, different things stimulate your muscles. And when you start training for, longer and longer and longer, you need different things to stimulate your muscles. And that's what I find made the difference. Like, a lot of people will change their training pattern, or, they'll change the type of training they're doing. Whereas for me, I'll keep the same, but just make it more intense. And for me, that's the only way you can change. Your body has to just go with what you're doing to it and adapt to it. And that's the theory I've always had in my mind. You go through what you go through.
You're making me feel that I need to probably be working harder at the gym. So I walked in here pretty comfortable today. So,
Yeah.
So how long do you typically spend at the gym?
Together or in one session?
In each session.
In each session, I'd say my weight session probably be 2 to 3 hours. And my cardio would probably be 45 minutes max to an hour. Yeah. So, yeah, all in all, about 4 hours a day in the gym.
Yep. Well, but in terms of you coach and you train a lot of your own clients as well. Yes. What do you typically recommend with them in terms of a good amount of time for them to be training in the gym?
I'd say definitely an hour to 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Most of my clients will be in there for at least an hour and a half. Some of them, they'll do their cardio before. Some of them will do their cardio immediately after their workout. It just depends on what time they have on their hands. But we always try and find a way to work around it and make sure that they get the best out of a session.
Yep. So with what would you typically recommend? Is it personal preference whether you do cardio before or after? Is there one which you find works better?
No, not necessarily. Fasted cardio works for me, but I have the time to do that. Not a lot of people have the time to do that. I've done shows where I've trained first and then cut down my cardio afterwards. So, there's many roads to that lead to success. You just have to stick on them. and keep going. But no, not after workout is fine. Before the workout is fine. But when I say before the workout, I don't mean like immediately before the workout. I mean like a good couple of hours before you do your workout.
Yeah.
Then
so do that and then rest and then come back and do your weights.
Yes.
Yeah. So for you, that's the optimal. Like if someone had all the time and had the flexibility to do that, that's what you'd recommend.
That's what I'd recommend. Yeah. Do your cardio first, then come back. Get some food in you, energy, and then come back and really try and push your body to a level that it hasn't been to before.
And cardio, that's it's always been a little bit of a dirty word for a lot of people who go to the gym and hit the weights.
Yeah.
Is there any particular kind of cardio which you enjoy the most, or which you find gets the best results?
Well, to be fair, I've always done steady state cardio, and this last show was the first time I started incorporating HIIT, and I really enjoyed it. As soon as I woke up, no matter where I was, I didn't have to go to the gym. I could just roll out of my bed and literally I'll do like burpees right next to my bed, about 10 sets of burpees. My heart rate is like pumping and I'm awake. I'm ready for the day. And yeah, I found that incorporating HIIT recently has been a shock to the body, and it helped, with the change that I made this year as well.
So with the HIIT training, like what exercises would you typically incorporate? Like right now, you're obviously on the road and you do a lot of traveling as well.
Yeah.
When you're on the road, is there a certain HIIT routine which you find works well just to get your body fired up in the morning and just the metabolism firing?
Yeah, well, I usually do 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off of whatever it is. So it could be, speed crunches. It could be burpees, burpee pikes. If I'm near a gym, I'll just go and hit the ropes, medicine ball slams. Yeah, and those are the main ones I'd say I tend to do when I wake up in the morning.
So 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off.
Yeah.
10 minutes, 20 minutes? Yeah, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think 20 minutes probably be a bit of a killer.
Yeah, that's a killer.
But before that, steady state cardio. Because again, that's one of those things where, a lot of people say don't do steady state cardio.
Okay.
As well. Yeah, I think I've previously heard before.
Yeah, it's worked for me.
Yeah.
It's worked for me.
And it's clearly working.
Yeah, everyone's different. I like steady state cardio because number one, I have the natural energy to do it. And I also like to spend time within myself. So it's a good time for me when I've just woken up. I'm hungry, but I've got energy. I expel that energy, but while I'm expelling that energy, I get to reflect and think of things. And yeah, it's a nice little wake up in the morning for me before I start the day.
And then going into your weight session and talking particularly around pre-fatiguing the muscle as well. How heavy and how hard do you go with the pre-fatiguing? Like, and are you usually putting on weight, or is it just like body weight just to get the muscle warmed up, or how do you approach that?
It depends on the muscle group. If it's legs, for instance, like legs is quite a big muscle group, so I'll use weights and I'll pre-fatigue it with weights. However, if it's something like my chest, I'll use a body weight to pre-fatigue. So I'll do literally 4 sets of push-ups till failure before I even start my workout. And prior to doing that, I'll do 50 push-ups, 20 pull-ups, and what else was it I used to do? I used to do 3 things. I can't remember. I remember it was deadlift, it was pull-ups, push-ups, and one thing else, but it was like loads of reps before I even started the workout, and just being used to it, just get used to it. My training partners, they love the challenge as well. So we're always challenging each other. I don't feel I'll go as far as I have gone if I didn't have the type of training partners around me that I have. Being around people that want to push themselves really helps a lot as well. Because some days, as human beings, we're naturally lazy. So having someone being able to push you on the days that you are trying to be human, that helps as well.
So on your training side, how long have you been training for?
Well, I'm 36 now, and I started training when I was 16 in college, and I haven't stopped. I don't think I've actually gone a week where I haven't trained since I was 16, to be fair. So yeah, 20 years.
So, and before that, were you relatively athletic and sporty before?
Yes. So in school, I was athletic. I did athletics. I did long jump and I did triple jump, and then went on to do decathlon for London. So I was part of a 4-man team that represented London. So, that was quite interesting because it took me out of my comfort zone. I had to do pole vault. I had to do, steeplechase, all these things I've never done before. And yeah, I would say it hasn't always been a passion for me. I sort of fell into it. And it's kind of funny how I fell into it. I was just walking past, it was sports day at school, and I was walking past the guys that were doing javelin. And the teacher went, "Well, why don't you have a go?" And I was like, "Please, do I look like I'm into that kind of stuff?" And he's like, "Look, just have a go." So I said, "All right, fine." So I threw the javelin, and then everyone made a noise. And I was like, "What's wrong? Did I do it wrong?" And the teacher was like, "No, can you step back for a bit, please?" So I had to step back and then throw it again. And apparently I'd broken the school record on my first throw, So, being from Africa and being in school, I had a few people teasing me, "Oh, it's because you're African, you can throw a spear," and things like that. But that's what the teacher saw in me. And he then took me to the athletics track and just wanted to see what I can do. And then we found out that javelin wasn't actually my strong point, that long jump was. So from then, I just haven't turned back. I've done long jump, I've done triple jump. I became triple jump champion for the Kent County. And then it started getting cold. So I didn't like athletics anymore. So I had to find something else. So I went on to dance.
Dance?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So what kind of dance?
Street dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I went on to street dance. By that stage, I was in college now, so I'd left school. I'd done athletics all throughout secondary school. And then as soon as I hit college, it then became street dance. Street dance was based on, I went to college to do performing arts. And everyone in my class was just a dancer or just had some kind of crazy talent, and I felt like I needed to fit in. So I started learning how to dance, and I'm a quick learner. Put it that way. So yeah.
Yeah. So training at the gym then, was that a way to then support the athletics and then the dance? Yeah.
So training in the gym literally started as soon as I got into college. A lot of the kids used to just stand upstairs and stare at each other, and those stares will turn into fights and things like that. And I just didn't want to be around that kind of environment. So the college had a gym, and me and my friend just used to go down there and look around. We were inspired because we were told that the England rugby team trained at that gym. So we just used to walk around and say, "Oh my God, this is where famous people train." And that was our attraction to the gym, not actually weight training. It was just trying to see someone famous. And then before you know it, we were just lifting the weights and then haven't turned back since.
And at what point did you then decide that this was the path which your career and your life was going to take?
Funny that that wasn't chosen. I felt like I was forced into that decision because I got quite far with my dancing, and coming from an African background, my parents sat me down one day and was like, "Okay, you're doing really well dancing, you're making a lot of money, but when you're 50, what's going to happen?" So it then started making me think, okay, am I going to be dancing forever? No, I'm not. What else do I like doing? I'm always in the gym. Why don't I study it? And, that's when I decided to go to college again to study fitness.
And it's from that you then decided to turn pro and start competing?
No, I've been working in gyms for I'd say a good 5-6 years. And then I started seeing people that I'd seen in magazines walking into my gym. And I always used to think their pictures were photoshopped and things like that, until I saw someone in real life and I was like, "Wow, you're that girl in the magazine, And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "How did you get into the magazine?" And she goes, "I do competitions." And I just literally just started picking her brains from then, what kind of competitions? And you can actually get your body looking like that? Do you mean you can get lines on the side of your stomach? And she was like, "Yeah, you can. You just have to, have a steady diet." And it's that. So she introduced me to her training partner, who was a dietitian. And he said, "Yeah, let's just experiment and see where it goes." So my first show was a show called Miami Pro. And I was supposed to do a 12-week prep, but I remember I didn't take it seriously for the first 4 weeks. So I basically done an 8-week prep. But I think after 4 weeks of training and starting to see the change in my body, that was it. I was switched on because I was like, okay, so it can be done. It is a reality. And I haven't turned back since. That first show, I won it, became the overall champion, and it just added a confidence in me that, okay, this is your first show ever. You didn't really put your all into it, and you become the overall champion. What can you actually do if you actually, you know, put your all into it? And that was it. That was the spark.
I guess that's a nice segue into the importance of diet. I know that for you, nutrition is very important.
Definitely.
You know, I think reading through some of the programs, you know, which you've put together, you know, there's a big focus on that in nutrition.
Yeah.
What rules do you typically follow? I guess for anyone listening, like, are there some basic rules that you tend to follow when you eat? Because I know that, you know, you're not always strict with your diet as well. So, but how do you keep that balanced? Because you look incredible. Like, it's 6 weeks out from the 6 weeks since WBFF's.
Yeah.
And you still look like you step on stage tomorrow and win easily. So.
Yeah. Well, being in the industry, one thing I found that I differ to a lot of people is I actually don't like food, in a sense of I eat to maintain. I don't eat because I enjoy food. Like, someone can sit down there and, you know, they can have 2,000 calories in one setting. I'm not that guy. You know, I eat to maintain what I've got. And it's just always worked with my body. It's almost like my body tells me how much I need and how much I don't need, you know. I have a sweet tooth, but because I don't eat a lot, the sweet tooth makes up for it, you know. So if someone goes and eats, like, you know, 500 grams of rice, and then they have a sweet, whereas me, I'll probably have 50 grams of rice and I'll have a sweet. There's you know, you can see the difference there, you know, and that's how I feel I've managed to maintain and not, you know, getting out of shape or going overweight.
I think I remember growing up, you'd always see the off-season bodybuilders and they just pack on the weight.
Yes.
And then they'd start training, they cut it back, but it was this constant, just up and down, just constantly yo-yoing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, you know, you obviously, you know, look incredible year round.
Thank you. I think it's everything in moderation.
Yeah.
That's what I've always preached, in a sense of, when we were children, our parents would give us pocket money. We'll go to the shop and we'll select one sweet and we'll have it and we'll enjoy it and we'll be happy. And then as soon as we get to a certain age where we start making our own money, that one sweet becomes a 10-pack of sweets. And then you're eating it in one setting. I've always said, go back to your childhood, you know, make a treat. So if I bought like a big box of donuts, I'll only have one. Whereas most people I know would probably have 2, 3, 4, or eat till they're sick, you know? So it's finding the balance and having everything in moderation. You can still enjoy a sweet, but just don't go crazy with it. And you'll stay in a fairly good shape.
So I guess in a nutshell, eat what you need, not what you want.
Yes.
Fantastic. And on that note, Williams, it's your daughter's birthday this weekend.
Yes, it is.
I'm sure you'll be going out and eating just enough birthday cake.
That's it.
Fantastic. It's been great having you here, Williams.
Thank you.